never. And then we had the main
Oh, yeah.
event, Edwards versus Usman, the challenger Edwards going up to fight the pound for pound king. Obviously, the ending was completely unexpected. However, the fight leading up to it was expected. So it was 50-50. It was one of those where, like you're saying, you said you were disappointed by the ending. However, I wasn't disappointed by the ending. I was more disappointed by the first 4 rounds
For 4 rounds, okay.
because it was what we expected. Usman complete domination, go back to the wrestling type because he knew deep down that Edward striking was actually a prospect that could get him seriously hurt, and
Oh, yeah, that's true.
that's what happened in the end. But for the first 4.5 rounds, maybe it was again the same Kamaru Usman that we used to seeing.
Hmm. Yeah, so basically, I mean, the UFC 278 was an absolute show, especially, I mean, the main event and the core main event. But what was going through your head when the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman landed that not the Nigerian, I mean, Leon Edwards landed that devastating head kick against Kamaru Usman? What was going through your head at that moment in time? What were you thinking?
Well, because we're Brits, we can obviously admit that we're up at 6 a.m. if we're watching that, so we're half asleep like a zombie. We're like, oh
It's difficult, isn't it?
yeah, but I was definitely not half asleep when he landed that head kick because I was in bed at 6 a.m. and I was starting to get, dreary eyed as you do because the fight was going Usman's way. He went to
Yeah.
resting, diverted to time and was just dominating Edwards. And then I woke up.
Boom.
I woke up a bit when the coaches decided to get in Edwards' face, start screaming, shouting, saying, you're letting yourself down. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, screaming and shouting at him, trying to get that fire back into his belly. And then I woke up a bit. I was like, oh, Jesus, Jesus, he's going to go for it here. And then he didn't for the first 3 minutes of the fifth round. So I started to, drift back off again. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden I hear John Anik scream, no way.
No
And then
way.
I shot up and I just saw Usman on his back, eyes rolled back like this. And Edwards is obviously in the air, you know, giving it the gun finger and
McGregor walk, yeah.
yeah, McGregor walk. And then I was just like, what? I shot up in bed and I screamed. I was like, what? Obviously woke my neighbours up at 6 a.m. so they probably weren't happy, but oh, I was ecstatic. I was nearly running around the room at like a stupid o'clock in the morning. It was crazy.
I wasn't jumping around, to be honest. I've always been a fan of both fighters, if I'm being honest. Kamaru Usman, I've followed his career from like when he started fighting in the UFC. The same with Leon Edwards. So I didn't know who to support, but I had a bit of a bias towards Leon Edwards because he's from Britain and he's from Birmingham, to be precise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, but honestly, I didn't like the way the knockout happened. Especially if you like two fighters, you don't want to see someone get knocked out that hard, especially if it's a fighter that you like. But overall, though, to be honest, I think it is, a good moment for like British MMA. Do you know what I mean? We've only had one champion in UFC history, which was Michael Bisping, right? And then we've got Leon Edwards as the second British champion in UFC history. So essentially putting Britain on the fucking map.
Yeah, it really is. And also, it's not just the fact that he's the second British champion, he's the first champion to win it out of Britain.
Oh, Britain's okay.
Training in Birmingham. Michael Bisping, obviously, is British. He's from Clitheroe. He's
Mm.
from not far from where we reside now, towards Manchester. But Leon Edwards is the first fighter to win a title training in Britain, sparring with British fighters, British coaches. So he really is probably the first true British champion in a way.
So Michael Bisping's a fake British.
No, 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 never fake, never fake. He was the
Never
first. He
fake,
was
yeah.
the pioneer of British MMA. But look,
Yeah, yeah.
we need to look at Leon Edwards now as the example of the next generation king of British MMA. Is
Hmm.
basically what I'm trying to say because he's built himself up training in Britain, out of Birmingham, and he's never shied from the fact that he's found it tough. He spoke about his backstory coming up over from Jamaica and getting into gang violence on the streets in Birmingham, and you know
Yeah.
overcoming adversity to get to where he is now. So we need to look at that story as fans, English fans of MMA, and be inspired really.
And it's an inspiration as well for a lot of working class kids from like these areas, London, Manchester, Liverpool, seeing someone like, Leon Edwards doing what he did. knowing that there's a way out. You don't always have to be in a gang, right?
Exactly, exactly. Especially with you think about the stories the last few days. I mean,
Mm.
Tyson Fury's cousin got killed, got stabbed to death
Mm.
and killed, and he came out and he was saying, "We need to stop this. We need to end this violence." Darren Till has been an advocate for that as well. He's always spoke out about stop knife crime because he's been a victim of it himself in the past, and look where he is now.
Mm.
So, and
Yeah,
Paddy Pimblett a few weeks ago when he grabbed the mic and he spoke about something so important. It's just amazing to see these fighters from our shores go over to America and make such a positive difference in the octagon and out of it as well.
completely. Honestly, would you say Kamaru Usman's boxing orientated style of fighting kind of was the reason why he got knocked out, in a sense that the way he slipped, that's more sort of like a boxing style, and then as he slipped into the head kick, right? Would you say his boxing kind of hindered him a little bit in the fight?
Yes and no, yes and no,
Mm.
because we can't be naive to forget that his boxing leading up to that moment was winning him
Mm.
the fight too.
True,
Because
true,
he
true.
did land some good shots on Edwards. Don't get me wrong, nothing to stun him, nothing to hurt him. But if you look at the significant strikes, Usman threw a lot more strikes. I think it was about 150 something strikes Usman threw compared to Edwards 68, which is not a lot. But Edwards landed, I think, 58 significant strikes, and Usman landed, I think it was in the 90s. So his boxing was was a lot more effective than Leon Edwards, to be fair, throughout the fight. But
Mm.
but the stats don't lie, and the one knockdown that you see was the crucial knockdown in the end. And sometimes you don't need to pepper, and use these fundamentals that you're talking about. Sometimes you just need that one killer shot, the headshot,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah,
and
and he had it.
there we go. And he pulled it out the fire, which is is it again like we're saying, it's inspirational. There's nothing more you can feel after seeing that than inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah. I mean, the first round, to be fair to Leon Edwards, he actually won the first round, right? I mean,
Well, yeah,
Kamaru
yeah,
Usman went for a takedown, and Leon Edwards kind of had him on a body lock and tripped him, took him down.
yeah.
Had multiple submission attempts. So, I mean, the first round, I would say he kind of dominated the first round, to be honest. I wouldn't give it a 10-8 round, but certainly he won the first round. I think Usman picked up the pace in the second, third, and the fourth round, and he was certainly winning the fifth round, but that head kick just landed, and
Well,
that's what she wrote.
yeah, Murder She Wrote. Well, that's what makes him the champion, Usman. To
Yeah.
realize, first round probably didn't go my way. Okay, I need to make some adjustments here. I need to revert to type, use my fundamentals that have made me so good and got me to where I am
Mm.
today, and clinch game, force him back to the cage, take him down, and just basically maul him. He landed some good shots too, as he
Yeah.
was doing it. A few elbows, which Leon said himself. After the fight that he regrets not using his elbows more and his punches, especially
Perhaps
off
his knees as well.
because yeah, he admitted especially in the first round when he took his back and controlled Usman, which we've never seen
Mm.
before. Again, which is equally as
Yeah.
impressive. Doing that is equally as impressive as cutting him up and landing some good
Completely.
shots.
I mean, the first person to take him down, but also the first person to actually knock him out as well in UFC history. That's not crazy,
Exactly.
though, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, really is. But it's
Incredible.
not just
And
that. It's not just
yeah,
that. Sorry, it's the fact that he was able to control him. He didn't just take him down and then he got back up straight away. And Usman's like, "What was that? You trying to take me down?" He took him down and he controlled him for I think it was about 2.5 minutes, which is we've never seen that. We've never even someone get close to that, which
taking
show
him
which
down.
which shows that Leon's game has evolved leaps and bounds over to where we even thought it possibly could be, which is exciting because, again, like we're saying, he's training out of Britain, which is notoriously not as savvy wrestling training wise as any of the
Orientated,
Americans.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not wrestling orientated compared to the Americans who train it day in day out at high school. If you're going through the collegiate divisions there,
Divisions,
so
yeah, completely.
it's one of those things. You always seem to think that the British fighter going up against an American fighter in mixed martial arts, the American's going to be a lot better grappling wise than the Brit.
Well, Edwards has proven them wrong, to be honest. I mean, he came in and he said it, though, to be honest. He said that, you know what, Kamaru Usman, everyone's talking about his wrestling, but he has said that, you know what, I might actually go in and wrestle Kamaru Usman. He said it, and he was actually successful. However, I mean, he was trying too hard to take him down, and let's be honest, Kamaru Usman, I mean, he's a top, like quality wrestler, right? I mean, he's a D2 All-American wrestler, and if you want to try to wrestle down someone who's like that great, it's going to be a difficulty. And when Usman came out like in the second, third, fourth round, he was completely dominating him with not just his boxing but his actual wrestling as well. So yeah, I think that was a big mistake in his second round or third round for him to try and wrestle down Usman, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. But he also spoke about the fact that after the first round, he felt like his body gave way a bit, and he kind of
Hmm.
he didn't say that he gassed. I think this was on Ariel Helwani's MMA hour yesterday. He didn't say that he gassed, but he said that his body, he felt like his body had started to give way a bit. I don't know whether that was because of
The altitude, right, in
the
Colorado,
altitude. Yeah,
Utah. Yeah, that's
there
it.
was a lot.
Yeah, because a lot
There
of
was a lot of comments.
yeah, so there's a lot of fighters just like Luke Rockhold and Paulo Costa who were breathing heavy, like in the fucking first round of the fight, right? So I was thinking maybe
Yeah,
it's probably more to do with the altitude than anything else, to be honest.
exactly, and a lot of the commentators were pointing out as well. I don't know whether it actually made a significant impact in the fights at all. Well, it might have done because when you look at it, there was apart from the Aldo fight, there was quite a lot of exciting finishes, quite a lot of exciting fights. So
Hmm.
whether that begs the question that like Edwards said, the body started to feel different, so they just thought, fuck it, I need to go here, I need to go balls to the wall, and it ended up resulting in quite a few finishes.
Hmm.
Whether that was the
Yeah.
case, I'm not too sure, but yeah.
Yeah.